Welcome back to Faces and Places Across the United States. Today, Sandra is talking to Josh in Kansas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our web chat, Faces and Places Across the United States. My name is Sandra, and I'll be your host today. Today, I'll be talking with our guest, Josh. Hi, Josh. Welcome to our chat.
Hi, thank you for inviting me to be here. It's my pleasure to be here.
It's wonderful that you have joined us today at our American English at State Facebook page. And we are delighted that you are here for this web chat. Before we begin, I would like to ask our audience to please share with us where are they joining us from today. Please let us know in the comments box. So Josh, where are you now?
So I'm in Lawrence, Kansas, which is a small town in the northeastern part of the state.
Oh, very nice. I think we have a map of the United States, and it's going to point at where Kansas is, and you are kind of correct. It's in the middle of the country, in the middle of the United States, right there. And how's the weather there today?
Well, today it's sort of mild. It's around 70 degrees, which is, I think, 22 or 23 Celsius. And it's a bit rainy and cloudy. We've been lucky to have a lot of sunny weather lately, so I think we're paying for it with having rainy weather now.
Wow, very nice. Well, here in DC, we have had a really high temperatures and very humid. I think we broke a record yesterday, so it is pretty warm. It was 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty warm.
That is very hot.
Yeah, and it is very humid too. So they're asking everybody to stay home for that reason.
Oh, wow, this is the heat advisory.
Yes, heat advisory, exactly. For the next 3 days. So I'll stay here inside and joining people from all over the world who are watching us today. And we have some questions from our audience prior to our chat. We have Ariano Clau said, oh, what a great opportunity to learn about other cities. Thank you. Thank you for being here today, Josh. Also, Karima Birsky said, students will be interested to know one of the famous stories of Kansas. And Suhasini Jadva has said, wow, great opportunity indeed. And on the next slide, we had some questions from our audience members that maybe we'll answer today. We have Shadi asking, it's very interesting to know more about Kansas State and other beautiful states in the United States. And Albin Baltonado is saying, Kansas reminds me of Smallville. So we might ask you about that.
Okay.
And Mohammed Ansur is saying, is the home of tornadoes and the Wizard of Oz.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And Fabrizio Carota is saying that he knows that the capital city is Topeka. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Good. And the nickname is the Sunflower State.
Mm-hmm. Also correct.
Did you know why it's called the Sunflower State?
Yeah, so
Hello?
I know that we just have sunflowers that grow all over the state. So it's just a very common flower that you see grown in the wild. But also near me, close to me, is a sunflower farm. And so every year, every spring, people go to this farm and they take kind of selfies in among all of these sunflowers at this farm. So. And it's just a beautiful flower. I think it's on our flag, as you can see.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Sunflowers are so beautiful. And with the sunset and the sunrise, they just look amazing. And they grow pretty tall, correct?
Yes, they can get pretty tall. I'm not sure exactly how tall, but I've seen some that are taller than me. So yeah, pretty tall.
Very, very tall. I wanted to let you know we have a few people joining us from all over the world. We have Michaela joining us from Madagascar. We have Pasal joining us from Baghdad, and we have Nida joining us from Egypt. So we'll have people from all over the world, all different continents, and we are very excited to have them here today.
That's great.
So let's get started with your hometown. So I ask you, like, what would you like to share? And you say, well, I would like to share about my hometown. So tell us a little bit about your hometown of Lawrence in Kansas.
Yeah, so Lawrence is a pretty small town in the northeast part of the state. It's around 120,000 students, or sorry, 120,000 people that live here. And we're just about 30 miles east of Topeka and about 30 or 45 miles west of Kansas City. So right in the middle there between those two larger, more well-known cities. We're very famous, I think, for our university that's here, the University of Kansas. It has 20 or 25,000 students. And we're famous for our basketball, and we have a long history of progressive politics here, dating back to the time of the Civil War.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you mean by progressive politics and what happened there?
Yeah, so around the time of the Civil War, there were people who were fighting against slavery, and there were people fighting for slavery to continue. And in Kansas, we were a free state, which means that slavery was not allowed here. And in fact, some people from Kansas and specifically Lawrence were actually fighting for the end of slavery. There were attacks between like kind of military groups. And so that has continued. Today, I think we still have these sort of progressive politics here where we are, fighting for the rights of people from marginalized communities. And yeah, a lot of people here are, I think, have more progressive values in general.
Well, that's very nice. And if I were to visit one day, Lawrence, what should I go and see there?
Well, so I think a couple of historical buildings that date back to that time. So there's this hotel in Lawrence called the Eldridge Hotel. And when Lawrence was attacked by pro-slavery forces, that hotel was burned down once or twice. And one reason I think, if I'm not mistaken, was that it was a meeting place for people who were anti-slavery in Lawrence. So, and it was just kind of this symbol of freedom here in Lawrence. So the Eldridge Hotel has a lot of history. And also I would suggest visiting our basketball stadium here, the University of Kansas basketball stadium, because we have a long history of basketball here.
Very nice. I think you share with us a picture of people celebrating after a basketball game. Can you tell us what happened? What is this so important?
Yeah, so this is what you're seeing now is the main street in downtown Lawrence, kind of where all the shops, restaurants, and cafes are. And so this is when KU the basketball team won a very important game in a basketball tournament 2 years ago, I think in 2018. And this is when we won to get into the Final Four. So these are the Final Four teams in this tournament. And so you can see people were very excited. People are wearing, KU gear, shirts. You see a man with a KU hat. So people are huge fans of basketball here.
So that day, everybody celebrated a lot.
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely.
So tell me, what is there to do like during the summer months? I think you shared with me that there are a lot of festivals and activities to do during the summer.
Yeah, so sort of as I've grown up, there have been sort of more festivals and things like that. For a time, just outside of Lawrence was this huge music festival called Wakarusa Music Festival, and it's no longer here, but that was a big thing to do. We have a food truck festival now every summer, where food trucks that sell food out of their truck come and you can buy food from them. They specialize usually in just one kind of food. A lot of people here also go out to some of the lakes around here to swim. A lot of fishing spots around here. If people have boats, they take their boats out there. So those are some things I'd recommend.
Very nice. I think you share with us a couple of pictures of bands that play during these festivals.
Yeah, so on the left is a kind of a jazz band, and during the summer we have what we call an art walk, and so different galleries, different art collectives in Lawrence will open up their doors on one day for every month of the summer, and people just walk around to all of these galleries, and some galleries, will have food and drinks for people, and some of them will have bands. On the right is a couple of my friends who are playing at a local music venue. So before, this whole pandemic and everything, you could go to different music venues on any night of the week and hear jazz, you could hear rock music, you could hear acoustic music, country. Even though we have a small population, we have a lot of musicians and artists here.
Wow, very nice. So we have some questions from our audience, and let's see if you have the answers to some of them. One of them is Hervé, and also, let me see, Shane. They're asking, what is the preferred local food in Kansas?
So I think the first thing that any good Kansan would tell you is barbecue.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
Yeah, and so we have a particular style of barbecue where the sauce is really important. So we kind of put all our barbecue, we put this sort of sweet, tangy sauce on the barbecue that we eat. So all kinds of barbecued meat. So Kansas City is well known for having good barbecue and having a specific style of barbecue.
Oh, that sounds good. I think I'm gonna have to go to Kansas to try some barbecue.
It's really good.
I have some other questions. One of them is, we already answered what's the capital of Kansas. Hannah Lady wanted to ask that, but also wanted to ask, what is your job, Josh?
Well, thank you, yes. So I was most recently an English language fellow. I was a fellow in Uzbekistan. And unfortunately, because of the COVID-19, I had to return to the United States. So I have a job lined up, but it's still sort of unclear how it's going to work, but I will still continue teaching English in some way, in some capacity.
Very nice. Now technology is opening a lot of new doors to teach English all over. So we have a question for you too. We have Roberto Zamora is asking, are there many Latino immigrants in your city? Do you know?
Yeah, so I think we have a relatively small population. I know in Kansas City, Kansas, there's a very large population of Hispanic or Latino immigrants. And then also in other parts of Western Kansas as well. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the percentages or anything are, but yeah, I volunteered in a local high school a couple of years ago, and I was teaching English to some immigrants who had come here from Spanish-speaking countries in Central
Very nice.
America.
Yeah, it's great that everybody wants to improve their English. Also, we have a question. Do you know? Oh, well, you already answered this one before. JB Villaver wants to know what's the state flower. I think we answered that as the sunflower, correct?
Sunflower, right.
Yeah. And also, what is the bird of Kansas?
So I had to look this up because my trivia is not so good, I think, my Kansas trivia. So it's the Western meadowlark.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Okay, we have a few more questions here before we go, because believe it or not, our time is almost up.
Yeah, it's very fast.
Yeah, what sports do you like? What sports are you fond of? That's a question for you.
Yeah, I'm not so much into sports. When I was younger, I used to play American football and I used to play basketball, but now I'm more interested in arts and music and literature and things like that. But when I have a chance, I always watch KU basketball, University of Kansas basketball. We usually have a very good team.
Yeah, so I was researching a little bit about it, and it looks like Dr. James Naismith, who was the inventor of basketball, is buried in Lawrence. I think I put a picture there of this famous person who invented basketball.
Yeah, and there's a couple of years ago, they added this sort of museum to the basketball stadium here that sort of shows you the history of James Naismith and basically how basketball was invented and how it's progressed over the last, however many 100 some years.
I think that would be very interesting to see and experience.
Yeah,
Okay, I think our time has gone so quickly.
it was very fast.
We're almost done with our time here. We have a few more questions. Let's see if we can get to them. Oh, so one of the things that people were curious about and they knew about Kansas was about the Wizard of Oz. So tell me about the Wizard of Oz in Kansas.
Yeah, so you see, if like if you go to restaurants or if you see murals on walls, there's often some reference to the Wizard of Oz. It's funny because I watched it so much as a child, but I never thought it was very significant until I was older that there was this movie that took place in Kansas. So whenever I'm traveling, whenever I'm living in a different country, people always say, "Oh, Wizard of Oz, Kansas." And one woman actually insisted on calling me Dorothy. Um, so yeah, it's something I cannot get away from. I love the movie, but that seems like the main thing that people always want to talk about Kansas.
Yeah, so there is no place like home, of
Exactly.
course. But I have to ask you this one. If you were to tap your shoes and you're not in Kansas anymore, where would you like to be in the world?
Um, I think I'd probably like to be on a beach somewhere, probably in Thailand or somewhere in Southeast Asia because they have beautiful beaches there. And just to be laying in the sun and taking a swim and just being lazy. That sounds really nice right now.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, time has gone by really fast, and we want to really thank you for being here today. We have a few more questions that we'll try to get to in our chat regarding teaching materials. And, people are saying that they're teachers just like you as
Oh,
well. They want to know like what we recommend. So I will ask everybody here to go to americanenglish.state.gov. We have tons of resources there to share, and we can share some more in our chats as well in our comments. But thank you so much, Josh, for sharing your story with us today. I learned a lot about Kansas and a lot about Lawrence. Seems like a really cool, interesting city to go and visit. So hopefully we can go there soon and have some barbecue.
that'd be amazing. Yes, thank you for inviting me. This has been great.
Yes, and we'd also like to thank our audience today for such a lively engagement, for all your questions that you sent to us. We hope you continue to share your ideas through our social media pages. Don't forget to check our amazing resources to help you practice and learn more English. AmericanEnglish.state.gov has tons of resources and videos that you can watch. And don't forget to watch us again in our next session of Faces and Places across the United States. We encourage you to continue to engage in our conversation on our Facebook page. And bye for now. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.